So there's a video that I think needs to be made, mainly for one person, and I'm going to try to take a different tactic. The other one doesn't seem to be working, so we'll see how it goes. I heard somewhere, oh no, I know where it was from. It was actually where it had to do with evangelism, and how, say, when you're talking about salvation and Jesus, how you aren't necessarily going to be convincing the person that you're talking to directly, but people that are in earshot could be affected, and that's the point. So here goes. Low on about 4 years ago, and if y'all been watching any of my garbage that I put up, actually some of it's I'm pretty proud of, but if you watch some of the other garbage, you may have overheard how I pointed out that I come from a military town and live near a military town, or what used to be. So many people have moved here now. I think it's going to change the nature of how it used to be. Golly, it used to be like a Marine Corps, Army, and Navy factory. I don't know. It seldom, we didn't put out many Air Force people, and then the odd Coast Guardsman, Coast Guardian. Let me tell you about the guy that, real quick. Let me tell you about the guy that went into the Coast Guard that became a rescue swimmer. One of the more talented athletes in our area ever, and one of the people I'm most proud to know. That's there's a couple of jobs in the service that I find to be the most noble, and that's right up there. Fucking EOD, combat medic, corpsman. Those are the ones that I personally hold in the highest level of esteem. And that's sort of what this video is about. I read a post, I get like a little post feed, and I read a post on mine. And you know what? I wouldn't want you to think ill of me, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. Great White Stoke, you posted a couple of things about the service that inspired me to make this video. I don't really care to change your mind. And I'm not sure what your point was. There was a couple of big ones, though. First one, you had an article about females in the service. I didn't understand what your point was about the military looking to appeal to the female gender to the service. I'm guessing you're going to have to explain it to me. Maybe get out the coloring book. I'm guessing that you think that the military is just becoming some sort of affirmative action thing, and as a result it'll become weak. I know you wrote quite a bit. You talked about just a bunch of females and soy boys going into the service. I couldn't really tell what your point was. The egoist, the narcissist, the borderline mentally unwell pseudo-sociopath in me thought that you were just trying to wind me up a little bit. Whether you tried or not, you wound me up a little bit. Because I know people in the service, so are there soy boys? Are there this and that? Of course. Going all the way back to that study they did in the 50s or the 60s where they found only 18% of people in combat actually shoot their weapons at the enemy. That kind of thing. But here we go. A few years back, as a result of this being a military town, grandmas and grandpas. It's an interesting thing, grandmas and grandpas. It's always considered a good thing when somebody says they're going in the service. And it's a special, there's a couple, this is going to sound dumb, maybe, But, and maybe it's just for me because I'm such a huge fan of that particular division of the armed forces, but for me it's always special when I hear that somebody's going into the Marine Corps. As to why? Because to me, you can get the benefits such as the GI Bill that Great White Stoke talks about, and the healthcare that Great White Stoke talks about, the TRICARE, that kind of thing. The later on, the crappy benefits that you get at the VA in some places, but that's another story. You can get that and do something that's less Marine Corps. you know, you know, the Marine Corps, you're less likely to get the exact MOS you want. When you get in there, God only knows what really happens. There's fewer officers. It's very, very heavy, driven by the NCOs. It's just a different flavor. Now, so I always perk an ear up for me. And I guess I should say it, if one of my youngins were saying, I'm going into the service, I would encourage them to go Air Force. I would encourage them to go Army Air Crew or Navy Air Crew or Navy in general. The Navy people always seem to have fun. Now, granted, a bosun's mate, which is weird, right? The rate of bosun's mate in the Navy, as an aside, is one of those that it goes on to be one of the coolest jobs, but it can also be one of the absolute worst. A famous sailor on YouTube, all over YouTube, Don Shipley, he was a bosun's mate back before, back when dinosaurs roamed the earth and Navy special warfare wasn't the MOS and Navy SEALs. He's a bosun's mate. So just to give you an idea, bosun's mates go on to be captains of small vessels, and a gentleman that I went to high school with, his MOS rate was bosun's mate, and he was when he made chief, he was actually working up in the Naval Academy, teaching midshipmen and plebes how to sail. Anyway, any old way. This very proud grandma comes in to my work where I'm at the time and says, "Oh, I got to get my car done because we're throwing a little thing. My grandson, he's gonna go into the Marine Corps." I'm like, "That's wonderful." I said, "Do you know what he's gonna do?" "Yeah, his MOS. He told me he's gonna go into cyber warfare." And I thought, was it cyber warfare? Whoa. I didn't get into it with her there, but so you're going to stand there and tell me the United States Marine Corps has a military occupational specialty of cyber warfare. Now, I knew about the Navy, and I talked about this on the video before. The Navy has certain ships that, they got a bunch of nerds down in the bottom that do their thing with computers and people that would traditionally not fit the scope of what you would think of as a sailor, or soldier, or an airman, are extremely skilled with the proper tools in their hands. And I can understand why it's difficult for some people to comprehend that. But the romantic notion of the Marine Corps having such a group just out there, trolling in defense of their nation's enemies, or actually performing, computer attacks on a enemy nation's infrastructure. I think I understand now. It's definitely above my level, and I've got a friend that could probably explain it better than I can, but it's probably part of the MEUs that I was talking about, the MEUs, the Marine Expeditionary Units, where you have a whole very, very large group of Marines that are they're nearly, as a whole, they're tier 1, soup to nuts. They've got artillery, they've got aircraft, they're air mobile, they feed, they fuel, they fight, top to bottom. They can go somewhere as a whole, a decent size division. I think it's larger than division. A lot. They can pretty much go anywhere, and for at least 90 days, ain't nobody can do shit about it, other than nuke them. But you know what old W would say? You nuke us, and we'll nuke you back. Anyway, MOS as cyber warfare. How fucking cool is that? Where's the fight? Where is the fight? It's in all directions. So I wanted to add that. And as a personal aside, females in the service, females in special warfare, females in special forces, I personally don't have a problem with it. I don't know much about the selection process, besides, me personally failing the selection process of even entry for the Marine Corps when, 30 some odd years ago. But I can't even wrap my head around the selection process for special forces. And I can't imagine the current cadre allowing things to go through for the sake of affirmative action. I do know there are females involved now, always have been, pretty much always will be. And in the intelligence community, it doesn't matter, I don't think, what's between your legs when it comes to the fight. Who's got a good idea? Like I said in the Bin Laden video, the CIA officer happened to not have a penis. Had a couple big old lady balls, though. Good news is, though, for you conspiracy types, if you want to believe that Bin Laden was a myth or Bin Laden wasn't killed, then you can just dismiss her work and her sacrifice. And she's still active in her fight. And not respect what she does that keeps you safe and keeps you with the ability to still have an opinion. And you have that luxury. Thanks to her. Thanks to that kid that's probably sitting in front of a computer right now, fucking up Russia or China on the computer, hitting the enter key, making a big dick come up on the computer screen of Putin when he boots up his Apple IIc. Dude, dig it. I'm just riffing here, but so Putin boots up his computer to try to get an update. And what happens? The Oregon Trail game plays. Because that's essentially what's going on for him in Ukraine. I will send division of tank. Your tank platoon commanders died of dysentery. All right, y'all. Keep banging. Stay warm, I guess, for those of y'all. For all y'all Yankees, I don't know what to tell you. It's cold down here now, too. It's I'm out here freezing my ass off. It's 45, I think, this morning. 45 Fahrenheit. I don't know what that equates to in Celsius, but it's not enough to make ice. All right. Y'all take it easy.